Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight, I know I said I wasn't going to do a video, but I just realized that Wargaming credited me with the Sorry, hold that thought. The Charlemagne. I don't know why I went Charles there. I just, in my head, I'm all goofed up, sorry. I'm not feeling well. You probably can hear it in my voice, but anyway. Wanted to go through the specifics of the ship, and we got a nice gameplay for you guys after this. So, yeah. Surprise! Even when I'm not feeling well, I still can't keep you guys from having videos. It's on me. But yeah, Charlemagne. French Tier 6 Premium Cruiser. And let's get a look at it, shall we? Now, do what we always do. Let's go check out our commander. Andre Lemonnier. Or Lemonnier. You'll have to let me know which of which. Andre Lemonnier? I think it's Lemonnier. Anyway, his first perk, Window of Opportunity, cruiser's detectability time after firing main guns is reduced significantly, which is kind of nice in this particular ship. Wasn't, you know, it was necessary in the other one. What is it? God, I can't remember. The Floating Citadel of Sadness that was the Tier 5. God, I can't think of it. Super fast, but not very good. 150mm guns. Anyway, Isoroku Yamamoto is my second, or my inspiration. He gives you an extra armor-piercing capability on your cruiser shells. I run it on my American cruisers as well. Beyond Range gives us the extension of the range, which on this ship is very good. The range is fantastic on this ship for cruiser. I've got the extra torpedo range on this thing. Now, it comes stock with 10km range, so we'll see what it goes to once you get this extra torpedo range. Got punch through, obviously, that gives you extra AP damage as well as penetration. And then finally we have fixated, which gives you more precision and better dispersion on your cruiser's main batteries as well. Don't have him legend, so we don't have to worry about any of that. And he's only a level 7 captain, so keep that in mind. You know, we're going cheapo captain here. So I'm going to have to make up for the difference. We all know how well that goes. So with that, let's go in here. We've got Aiming Systems Mod 1. We've got Propulsion Mod. And we have Concealment. Now, this is something, well, first of all, I didn't have enough money for the other two, and I already had concealment, so that's part of it. You know, when I buy new ships, like the Vanguard recently, I wiped out all my silver, and I'm back down to having nothing. So, kind of had to go with concealment, but given the choice, I would take concealment here anyway. Detectability minus 10%, plus an incoming fire dispersion of plus 5. Generally, this is on destroyers, so it's nice seeing it on a cruiser. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Baltimore has it as well. I don't remember. But yeah, going into the loadout, it's got the standard the permanent camo that comes on most premium ships. Then you've got which is minus 4.5, minus 4.5, and then I've got my alpha tester flag. That's all that I'm running extra on it. I don't think there's anything that you can swap out here, but it does come with hydro. It comes with a spotter, and it also has an engine boost, which is nice. These French cruisers having the engine boost is pretty nice. And then 30,000 hit points, has decent armor, but not the best armor in the world. It's slightly worse than the Americans, but not by much. I believe the New Orleans, which is a Tier 6 American cruiser, these are both heavy cruisers. This is 140mm at its thickest. The New Orleans is 152mm, I believe. So you got to be careful, because you will be getting shot through the front of this ship and overmatched. Artillery, 203mm guns. You know I love my 8-inch guns. You've got 3 turrets with 3 guns each, so 9 in total. It's pretty standard for most cruisers, high tier. I don't know the Japanese right off the top of my head, but I know both the Americans and these tend to be 203 3x3, so you're used to it. Torpedoes in this thing, fantastic. 10km, like I said, stock. We get the bonus, so now we're 10.5 kilometers. They do 60 knots, so not too bad. It's not like they're the slowest things on the world. And they do good damage, 15,800 damage, so you don't want to be getting hit by them. And we're going to get a couple hits in the game. AA defense. It's a cruiser, so there's quite a bit of defense, but we don't need to really worry about that because, I mean, spotter planes. That's it. Maneuverability. 32 knots maximum speed, which is on the slow side for a cruiser. I know it's a heavy cruiser, but even the Baltimore goes faster than that, I believe. So, yeah, not necessarily the fastest in the world. Turning radius, 690 meters. That seems slow for a cruiser. Or big for a cruiser, you know what I mean? 14.2 second rudder shift time, so not, you know, nothing real crazy there. But that seems slow. If I look at, say, you know, our competition over here, which, tier 6. I've got the York. Let's look at the York real quick. Whoop, too far. Alright, maneuverability, 650, 8.1. So the rudder shift is considerably slower than the York. But the turning circle is relatively the same. Maximum speed is the same. So I guess it's right on par. Does have a really slow rudder, though. That's interesting. Part of that could be my perks messing that up as well, so keep that in mind. Where's my... Nope, not the Fletcher. That would obviously be better. We want the New Orleans. There we go. And stats, maneuverability. Yeah, so I guess the turning radius isn't that bad. But it's, yeah, the rudder shift is freaking horrendous for a cruiser. So keep that in mind. This thing does not turn quickly. So you've got to watch for torpedoes in this thing. And you got to watch when you get, like, shots coming. Because it's not going to be as shifty as any of the other cruisers. But yeah, with that in mind, whoop, let's go back to the ship. Go back to the ship, Spartan. Let's take a look around it, and then we'll head over to the gameplay. Whoop. Oh, yeah. And I gotta say, a good-looking ship. You know, I say this for everything, I think. Maybe I just like ships in general. But it's nice seeing that you have 2 catapult planes on there. And then you also have the fancy smokestack. This is the only smokestack I've seen like this so far. There are others that are similar, but not like that. Like that's fancy. I like that. You got 2 torpedo launchers on or 1 on either side, so use them wisely. And I believe they're 3 tube launchers. Looks like it. I guess I could look at that. That would make sense, right? Yep, 3, 1 on each side. I completely forgot to mention that, so my bad. And then we forgot to do the overbill. So it's got a wider maximum spread of the torpedo launcher, and you're going to see me use that a little bit here when I've got a target-rich environment. I just throw them out there to see what sticks. And then also, it's fast. It's above average maximum movement speed, which is hilarious considering it's the same maximum movement speed as the rest. But because I'm assuming they use that because it has the engine boost, so it helps you get up to speed faster, and you can go beyond your maximum speed with that boost. So yeah, off to the battle, guys. I'll see you there. Alrighty, welcome to our first ever match in the Charlemagne. Now, I'm going to be honest right off the bat. This doesn't accurately portray the pros and cons of the ship necessarily. And because it's only my first match, and it was a good one, I'm going to reserve my overall judgment on the ship. I definitely can say without a doubt it's not a bad ship. So I'll throw that at you right now. If you're thinking about buying it, if you love heavy cruisers, this ship is not bad. What I will say is, it's actually, in my limited experience, now keep that in mind, limited experience. You can't get any more limited. I had 1 good match in it right off the bat. Now, I'll have to play it some more before I can give you guys a little bit more info as far as how I actually feel in this thing. But so far, I like it. And so I maybe ended up picking this one up. It's not every day that I get a nice cruiser that I really do enjoy. And after playing the Atago, or Atago, whatever it is, I wasn't real impressed with that. It gets citadeled so easily. But that being said, this thing is actually kind of nice so far. Now, I launched those torps at the Gneisenau, trying to stay unspotted. Unfortunately, they have a plane up and I get detected. Now, the good thing about being in a heavy cruiser with a good plane is that you get the plane for 6 minutes. So I put the plane up early and often, and I get my armor piercing ready to do its job. Now, it's the broadside of a German battleship, so armor piercing probably not the best choice, but I figure at this range, if I aim high on the side of that ship, I should be okay. And I actually get some pretty decent penetration. It's not bad armor piercing. It's not as good as the Americans, obviously. The Americans, their shtick is that they have the best armor piercing in the game. That's the Americans' thing. They have the best armor piercing. It gets bonuses to penetration angle and all that good stuff. So the Americans have that in the bag. But otherwise, I think this is a very, very good cruiser. And you not only get hydro, and there's our first kill of the game. We've started out again firing only at a battleship, getting 10,000 damage before the finishing kill. Now the Gneisenau's on my team take a bit of a beating. They were charging a Gneisenau, so they should have known that torpedoes were on the way. Unfortunately, they ended up catching one. Somebody did. So it's not preferable, and that was kind of my fault too, because I didn't have the hydro running, because, you know, in my head, it's a Gneisenau, you know torpedoes are on the way. But that being said, we've got some easy kills here lined up. We got a Queen Elizabeth here, broadside on to God and everybody, just begging for it, and I somehow managed to think that it wasn't moving. So I completely screwed that first shot, but I'm not going to make that mistake twice. So we go ahead, we swap over to the high explosive. At this angle, it's unlikely that a cruiser is going to do much damage with armor piercing. Even with plunging fire, you can kind of roll the dice in the Americans because they have that fantastic AP, but not with pretty much any other cruiser. You're going to want to light them up, and sure enough, we set 2 fires there, and he must have gotten punched and fixed something. And so that being his mistake, watch this next one. So we've already got him burning twice with the first salvo, and there's another fire. So now he's on fire 3 times over, and we're going to get some nice damage off of that. Unfortunately, your Gneisenau's and torpedoes. Darn it! What could have been juicy just got completely stolen. But it happens. We got our eyes set on a Graf Spee. We also have a Normandy out here, which is terrifying for me, and a Pensacola. There are 3 ships out here fully capable of removing me from the battlefield in a hurry. The Graf Spee, or Spee, shoots at me with the first salvo. Luckily, his aim was off because I was presenting a very good shot for him. I was angled slightly, so if he did hit, it was going to be a penetration and potential citadels. Luckily, I got, fortunate. Now, I've got a broadside Pensacola at range, so I was like, let's throw a little bit at him, see what sticks. Because anytime I have a chance to shoot at a Pensacola with anything, I'm expecting citadels. Unfortunately, I'm a bad shot. Pensacola was moving a little faster than I anticipated. I missed the shot. I throw out my first set of torpedoes for whomever it may concern, and I use the wide spread. Now, if you remember in the previous clip, one of the bonuses for this thing is that it has an extra wide spread, meaning you're going to get some lucky hits. And, when I have a chance to throw some pitchforks out there, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of screwed up. I thought when I initially turned away instead of pushing forward to engage, I thought our Gneisenau died. He didn't. It was somebody else on the other side of the map that died. But then I turned away and started, trying to get some shots as I run away, popping that engine boost, trying to get some, and he gets a nice shot. Luckily, over penetrations hit high up on the superstructure or high up into the side of the armor. Not really going to do much damage, thank God. Because a Graf Spee, a Pensacola, and a Normandy could really make me absolutely miserable. And once again, I've got the other side of the ship towards him, so I go ahead, throw out some pitchforks, and see what's going to stick. You never know. I would rather throw them out in a random direction that I think that they're going to be pursuing me in, and that Pensacola's not doing his team any favor. He's firing high explosive. Now, generally, when you see a Pensacola firing high explosive, it means one of 2 things. Either he has no idea what he's doing, or he's not upgraded to the 203s yet, and he's still running with the 155s. Or 152s. I'll hold that thought. You know me. Oh, Graf Spee! Graf Spee looks like he's gonna take one right in the side, and sure enough, it does, and 10,000 damage, guys. We go ahead, we get that side. Notice it caused flooding, obviously. Broadside of a cruiser, that's gonna be flooding nearly every single time. And he's not putting it out. Which means he's waiting for his damage control to come back. So we're going to soften him up a little bit more, trying to avoid him, and this is where I start realizing that this thing doesn't turn very well. And that is, I start noticing that I can't just dodge their rounds. I realized that the Graf was about to die, so I held my fire. Now, thanks to the perk of my commander, I'm allowed to disappear a lot quicker, which is nice. And I can start to intercept our team. Now, if you look on the map, my team has won the other side, which is, you know, nice. They're pushing over towards the enemy base. They have a Scharnhorst in the enemy base, and they have the Normandy heading back towards the enemy base. So at this point, after I just said, hey, I could use some help, I realized that I actually have the advantage over here, and I'm going to start pushing up and hunting the Pensacola. Because the Pensacola up to this point hasn't shown me that he has the ability to shoot me with armor piercing, so I'm not afraid of him. And I'd much rather, you know, take on a Pensacola now than to wait for him to group up with his 2 battleships. However, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men and all that good stuff, it doesn't always go to plan, guys. Sometimes you think you've got it all figured out, and the world of online competitive multiplayer gaming catches up to you. Now, we're getting some effective fire, armor-piercing, plunging fire straight through the deck, all over penetrations. Not that surprising. He knocks out my torpedo tube, and I make a stupid mistake. I have no chance of torping him right now. And I burn my damage control. He's spamming high explosive with what I'm assuming at this point is 203mm guns. Not a good idea to pop your freaking damage control to fix a torpedo tube that you can't even use. And so he immediately makes me pay for it by setting me on fire, and unfortunately, this fire is going to burn its course. Unfortunately. Because the good news is, it's only going to burn for 26 seconds max. So I've got that going for me. I don't have to worry about that. But still, that's a lot of damage, and I don't have health to take it back. You know what I mean? You don't have healing. It's a cruiser, and it's not one that's got the new healing charges. It's got everything else, but it doesn't have a healing charge, which probably for the best. But that being said, you can only get lucky showing your broadside in a Pensacola for so long, especially against somebody only firing 203mm rounds. And then I start taking rounds from the battleships. Luckily, it was high explosive, but it still hurt, and there we get 2 citadels. We knock out his propulsion in this next shot. He fixed it, but this next shot, not the best. It slowed him down just enough that I'm going to over-penetrate like 1 through the bow, if I hit him at all, and I didn't actually end up hitting him. But I realized right there that I need to get out of here. I can take on the Pensacola. I don't mind dying. Look at that dispersion. That was pretty. Really? And then I'm like, okay, before I die, let's launch some torps out ahead of these guys, see if we can't get something to stick. Now, I launched those at the Scharnhorst, okay? I'm not going to lie and say, oh, yeah, that was a perfect... And then I did something stupid like that. This is what happens when you panic sometimes. And I'm not above panicking. It happens. I'm getting shot at by 2 battleships and a heavy cruiser, and I'm 2,000 health, okay? So, you know, I panicked. I'm not going to lie. But I maintained my composure after panicking. I know, right? I managed to get lucky as crap there and have every round from the Scharnhorst completely miss me. And then, Pensacola, you lived long enough. Go back to port, sunshine. Wait for it. Pow! Down he goes. And, wait for it. Those torpedoes look like they could be very close to the Normandy. And yes, it actually is. Not quick enough to get our double strike, but pretty close. And that gives us 4 kills for the match. We've got 3 fires started, and there's a Scharnhorst left who's got 2/3 of his health left. Oh, and by the way, we're over 100,000 damage. How'd that happen? When did that happen? I was just as surprised at you at this point to look up and go, wow, that was actually a decent game. Here I thought I was, you know, just fighting to stay alive, but apparently I was getting some damage done. Torpedoes tend to do that. And not to mention citadels through the sides. Now, once he turned broadside and I got that first armor-piercing salvo out of the way, I knew that armor-piercing is not going to work against Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst has stupid armor. Stupid armor. It's the only German battleship that the turtleback armor actually seems to work. Because it is a bastard to kill that thing. Even with big guns. And we have 203s, so we just switched our high explosive and start trying to burn him down. Luckily, he is charging straight towards another German battleship that has torpedoes. And so I get on the thing, I'm like, hey, watch out for his torpedoes. And then I see our torpedoes are much quicker. They're already there. And down he goes. Not too bad. That might have been a cruiser, actually, that ended up torping him. I didn't pay attention that much. But we did pretty good in our first ever match in this thing. We ended up making pretty good silver. 2,800 XP base. Not bad. So, 103,000 damage, 4 kills, 113 targets hit, 3 citadels, 2 floodings, 2 torp hits, 2 torps, and 2 flooding. You gotta love it. But, top of the leaderboard. There's your breakdown for all your silver earned. Not bad. Total credits, 445,000. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.